first of all for widget number 1 at the bottom, so we look at down here. Going to add in pages. PQ, there we go. Pages, that appears. Oh, by the way, that took a few minutes to update. Well, we took out the LinkedIn just now. So I've got the pages at the bottom, so I could either have it as one full page. So this is the equivalent of having your menus at the bottom. I'll go back to 2. We said we wanted search and what was the other one? Calendar. Add a widget, and we're looking for calendar again. There we go. I'm just going to call it date of events. And then you can see that appears down there. So I've got my second widget, footer widget in place. And then my final one, add a widget. I did say text and the contact map. So we need to find text, which here it is. So I add that. I'm just going to put an arbitrary title, text title. Again, use my lorem ipsum to just generate some data. Put that in there. And then add contact and map. Yeah, so we want contact and map, so click on that. It's given it the title, hours and info, so you can change that to whatever. I'm just going to put location, and then when you put the address in, the map will change. If I just scroll this down a bit and keep an eye on the map here, London. I'm just going to take out the hours, and then you can see that the map of London has appeared. That's all I want. So that's my footer now sorted out. The way that Affinity sets out the footer is that the first footer is half of the width of the screen. Some footers will be adjusted so that they're a third, but Affinity have set themselves out so it's half. Just bear that in mind. If you want the map to be on this side, it will be much bigger. So the static front page, that I think should be set up already as your home page. And then the final element is the theme options, which is the panels. If we just have a look at the general first, you can change the opacity of the header. So if we look at the header here, we can make it change it to 100%, slightly brighter. If I change it down to 20%, slightly darker. I'll leave it. I'll put it at 90%. That's fine. So before we can actually add the panels in, we need to create the pages. So don't forget to save and publish, because otherwise everything you've done so far will disappear. So I'm going to save and publish, and then go back to the main control panel and start adding in the pages. So if you click on the title site pages rather than add, you'll see what you've got in place. Now if we go back, I've got about, contact, news, City of London. That's the home page. So that the home page here, I'm just going to change. So I can click in there to edit, or actually click on home to edit. There is the details, and we want to change this to the City of London. And I'm going to put some words in here, and I'll use my lorem ipsum to generate, and that's just a paragraph that I want. I'll use that one there. Oops. And there's my data in the format I want it to be. I always prefer to have all the text justified, so it looks nice and neat. It's really up to you what you would like. So remember what we talked about previously about the page attributes. This is set at default template. We don't want it to be default template. We want it to be full width, no sidebar. I don't want any of the sharing options, and I think I've taken that out already. So that's ready to go. I'll update that. So that's fine with the so we're going to add in the pages that will go into the panels. So the first one was Tower Bridge. Featured image is my Tower Bridge photograph that I've got, so I'm going to add that in. Add new, and there is Tower Bridge. Set as featured image. Okay, the page attributes full width. Don't want the sharing options in there. And then I'm ready to publish. And then you can see your data appear here. Well, what we forgot to do was actually put in the text. So I'll just go back. This time I want the text to be more than one paragraph. Let's say it's 5 paragraphs. So generate that. See the output, I'm just going to justify it all. Update. So what I'm going to do now is just rush through this at double quick time, so that you don't have to sit through things that you already understand, and we'll very soon get to the end. Okay, I've added all the panels that I want to add, so I go back to my customize and then theme options, and then I can say, right, the first one is Tower Bridge, the second one is the London Eye. Now there's a fifth one in here, but I'm not putting anything in here, and I've left out number 5 to demonstrate what it will look like if you don't include a fifth item, or a fourth, or even a third. So you don't have to have the full amount. So that's saved. So let's view the site, and this is what we get. Now you can see that there's a lot of text here, and ideally you wouldn't want to have that on your home page. Same again here. So what we can do is to add a read more. So we go back to our pages. Let's go to London Eye. I'm going to do the break here, and then look for this tab, insert read more tag. So I'll click on that and it puts that in. So I'll update that. I'll go back to pages and I'll do this again in QuickTime. Okay, so that's all done. Let's now have a look at the site. You get the More button. So if I click on that, it gives you the details. I'd go back to my site, the home page. Now remember this last option here, the Millennium Dome. It's got the share facilities and that in it, which is what we don't want. And here on the actual page, this is what it would look like if you had your sidebar included. Again, I decided not to have it, just to demonstrate the differences, but you can if you want to. Now, what I want to do is go back and look at the menus. Okay, so here's my site, and what you'll notice is that the menu at the top has links that we don't really want, because if I just remind you again about the structure, we had the City of London, About, Contact and News. Now news in this case will be blogs, or the equivalent of post pages, and I wanted to position it this way to demonstrate how you can change the word blog to something completely different. But the trick is, how do we get to this point? So if we go back to the site, now the blog here, I've a number of blogs already posted. So if we have a quick look, which is the news items, there's the first blog post, featured content that I've got in place, and you'll find this in your blog posts, or what I would call news. These are the items here. What we have to do is go in and categorize them. So if I'm going to go in, this is the detail here. I want to create a new category called news. Okay, so that's what I would categorize that item as, news. So I'll update that. Go back to my site, blog posts, second one. Click on that. The news is already there because I've done it once. I'm going to uncheck that and check that one. Update. Back to my site, and the third blog post. Edit. News and update. Okay, so now that I've got the posts, my news, or what was the old blogs in place, I can go and update the menu. So to do that, we go into Customize again, and this time we go to the menus selection, and it is the primary that we want. So now the Affinity theme has the main home page in the top left hand corner, so I don't need the City of London here in my menu, so I can take that off. So to do that, you just expand the details and click on remove. Now that's gone. So I wanted About, Contact and News. Now, so I've got the About. I don't want pages, so I can get rid of pages from the top. Don't want blog, so I can get rid of that. Can get rid of that. But I need to add in the news now. So I add an item. It's not a page I'm adding in, it's not a post I'm adding in, it's a category. So click on category and you'll see news there. All I have to do is add it and it's there. I can reorder by moving it up or down, etc. So there are my menus in place. Save and publish, and then there you go. Now if I just jump out into Safari and look at it not being signed in, you can see City of London, contact, about, news, details, and then I can click on news to get to my blog posts, or about, the page about, or contact. So that is how you create a website using the free version of WordPress. I hope you found that useful. I know my students are going to need this for one of their assignments because they're going to have to create a Parallax site on WordPress. If you've got any questions, just drop me a line and I'll endeavour to answer and get back to you. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.